Hey guys, it's Nali here from Trucks Club. Um, I wanted to talk about, or want us to highlight something about rate at haulage exchange and how do you go about negotiating rate? Because I realized that a lot of people, if we're not careful, we might be running so much miles without making any living, And the most important thing is that we have to be able to make a decent, really income on our activity. And it is very much critical that when you see a job, you don't rush into throwing the code there and just taking there, go in there and drop and. At the end of the day, if you really weigh in your expenses and you put things together, it might not make a sense. And it is what maybe making one good decent job a day than making three and virtually making the same thing that one person who has done a job has made. You understand what I mean? So it is quite it's difficult, especially if you're sitting down waiting for a job and nothing is coming. It's quite challenging, and it can be pinging onto your uh, mental well-being, saying that you too much wasting time or you're not really coping very well. But what I tend to do is that when you see a job, you really go look at a mileage. How many miles do you need to cover? And know your expenses and what you need to cover in order to be able to make at least a profit of 5%, 5%. Okay, because in every of the job that you do, you got to make profit. I mean, there are some jobs that really you can do without making much, especially a job that if I'm on the route to do another job and there's a job quickly that I can drop going that way, I don't mind doing it. If I'm going to maybe pretty much maybe from Leicester to pick up from Leicester and maybe going to Darlington, and then there's a job from maybe Rugby going to Leicester, even if I can make only £5 on it, I don't mind doing it. I can do that. If I can clear that job, then go and pick that one. I can I can do it. Just for me to get a good review and just for me to get that build that relationship with other companies. You understand what I mean? So you got to really balance it. But the primary thing here is that you got to be able to give a code that really can provide you with certain income. Now, it is quite competitive and it's quite we operate in a very fast environment that you got to be able to code fast and also make decisions very fast. So how are you gonna go about it? Um, One thing is that it is good for you to know you're in and out. If you see a job that really, and you make sure that you got your fixed costs and know your variable costs. When you see a job, put them together and then say, okay, this is what it will cost me for me to complete this job. And if you add some little bit of margin on it, it will give you a figure. Now, that figure, you got to know what is it that you really want to be able to do that job and what is it below that you won't be able to do it. And then code between them. If you code between them, certainly if you do your math very well and know your expenses, you will be competitive. You get what I mean? So if your job is like 34 miles and your daily course is maybe on a keeping a truck, and it's like £290. You won't be able to quote that price, £290 plus your rolling cost, plus margin, and a client will say yes. So these are the things that you really got to weigh. What is it? What is the value? What is the va- the portion of your fixed cost will you be able to apportion to that very single job? So with some little bit of research and putting your things together, you'll be able to make decision. Okay, how much is it that I will quote for this job for me to be competitive? But the pretty thing that I would really advise you is that know your yes and know your no. So that when your client said, okay, this is how much he's gonna pay, or if your quote is rejected, probably you have to next time know what to balance up. I hope this video helps somebody.